Liverpool signed Ronald Araujo on a loan deal. Oh my gosh, bro. This came out of nowhere. I swear down, guys. What's the flip? I'm literally doing this at 11. I'm tired and I'm up. Ah! And then I get a Fabrizio notification. I'm like, hold on, bro. You know. I'm like, bro. And I saw Liverpool on the as the theme of the tweet, right? Bro, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what? I'm like, who could it be, bro? I'm thinking it's Barcola. I'm thinking that they must have, finished the Barcola deal by now. The Barcola saga's coming 10, and I'm like, yes. And then I see Ronald Araujo. Here we go with the Liverpool graphic, right? I'm like, oh my gosh, bro. That, bro, on a season-long loan, because it's like, where the hell was the news? Where the heck was the news regarding Ronald Araujo? Like that, I swear down, that shit came out of nowhere. It came out of nowhere. It caught me off guard, caught me by surprise. I don't know if it caught you guys by surprise. Probably did, because it came out of nowhere. I'm shocked. Like even doing this right now, I'm stunned. I'm stunned right now. I'm stunned right now. Because it's like this loan deal. I have mixed feelings about it. I really do, man. I really do, because it's like, you have to understand, we have to understand that at the moment Liverpool are in an injury crisis, particularly in the defensive department. Injuries are Reagan. Injuries are just it's just rage. It's, bro, what am I trying to? Injuries are ravaging our squad. They are absolutely destroying our defensive department. We are kind of light in numbers. We're low in numbers at the moment in the defensive department. I ain't gonna lie. We needed some defensive reinforcements to come in, but in the form of Araujo. How you guys feeling about this? Because it is a loan deal. That's what's saving me from just cussing out this deal at the moment. Because if you guys want my personal opinions of Araujo, me personally, I do not rate him as a defender. I don't think he's what Barcelona need to get to that next level, let alone for us to go and acquire him. To think that he's, if we're gonna look to challenge for the titles, if we're gonna look to win something this season of significance, right? We're gonna look towards Araujo as the person, as the defender that we need to take us to that next level, or to get us to that level. If you think about Liverpool last season, very poor defensively. It just felt like when we were defending against the opposition, it felt like the opposition had a goal in them. It felt like at times a goal was just pending. A goal for us to concede was just pending, man. And Araujo coming into this season as the answer, because he's going to be starting the season, especially with what's going on with the injury crisis at the moment, particularly in the defensive department. I don't know how many times I need to say that. Guys are dropping like flies at the moment, yeah, I don't really rate him, to be honest. And even when you do look at his time at Barcelona, right? One reason why I've always said that, like, he's not the guy to take Barcelona to that level. What made me realize is Barcelona in the last few seasons in the Champions League, what's been getting Barcelona unstuck, what's been, tripping over Barcelona in the Champions League, in Europe at least, is the defense, right? And I feel like a lot of those defensive problems Barcelona were going through in those games, I felt like Araujo was kind of the main culprit of those issues, right? Particularly, I don't know if you guys remember, I think it's 2 seasons now, by the way, which is insane, right? Barcelona versus Inter Milan, that series, I felt like, man, Araujo wasn't assertive. He couldn't really assert his dominance in that tie, and I felt like it kind of led to him, he was making, I don't want to say mistakes, but he looked very weak in that tie, if you guys know what I mean. Like, he didn't really look, he didn't look like that assertive centre back you would kind of need in a tie like that. I felt like Inter Milan were just having his way, were having their way, with the Barcelona defense, and I felt like Araujo was a main culprit at that, right? I felt like he really struggled in that tie, and I feel like he's also struggled in a couple of Barcelona big games in the Champions League. I'm not gonna lie, I don't be watching La Liga a whole lot, but it's like, of the little games I'll be watching here and there, he is like mistake bound, he is mistake pro, like I don't want to say to the extent of Konate, like where he could have a. No, in fact, I might put him on Konate level. When it comes to like Bozo moments, I don't know. I don't know if he has as much Bozo moments as Konate, but Araujo does have a Bozo moment in him. So it's like if we're looking at this signing to kind of take us to the next level, ooh, it's a bad. Regardless of it being a loan, right? If we're looking at Araujo coming in this season to be the mainstay and the centerpiece of the defense, right? It's gonna be a long season. I ain't gonna lie. Let's put it like that. It's gonna be a long season. But the reason why I'm not crashing out overly from this deal, even though I do not rate him, is that number one, obviously the injury crisis. We've brought in over the last 2 seasons 2, 3 high potential centre backs, in Leone and Jacquet. Jacquet being the one that's probably a bit more ahead of his development, ahead in his development, a bit more ready now, whilst also having the potential. We spent big money on Jacquet, right? Obviously, he hasn't featured in preseason. Maybe that's what's pulled their hand a bit to trigger the loan deal for Araujo. We are expecting that when those two come back, especially Jacquet, that Araujo is probably going to be taking a step back and is going to be, we are looking to pair Jacquet and VVD as the main partnership at the back, right? But that's one, and also the fact that it's alone, so like, yeah, if we are light in numbers, rotations, we need to rotate the squad, we need to rotate the defensive partnership. Maybe it's like a FA Cup tie or a deadbeat or a dead rubber. We've already progressed in the Champions League league phase, and we don't want to really take any risks. Yeah, squad depth, I hear it. Araujo would be a nice rotational piece. I ain't gonna lie, but if we want to use him as the mainstay, I don't know. It wouldn't look too good. It wouldn't be entirely good if you ask me, right? Yeah, man. I feel like there are upsides to his game. I do feel like he uses at times which could be a detriment to his game, but he does like to use his big frame of his pause, right? I feel like he is quite mobile as well for his frame, for his stature. That might translate into the Premier League. Let's see, because Premier League quick players we've got here in England in the Premier League. So we'll see how agile he is, right? But I just don't feel like he's consistently good, which is what we need. I'm not really looking at this deal as an upgrade or a needle mover per se. I just kind of think that this is an emergency signing in a way, especially when you look at the fact that other than Van Dijk is literally the only defender, only acknowledged centre back in preseason training at the moment. I think there was even reports saying that one of the assistant managers were partaking in training, so like that goes to show how bad things are at the moment. So we definitely need bodies. Again, the fact that this is a loan puts me at ease a bit more. I'm not crashing out overly, In fact, the fact that this is a loan, I would say that it's a decent deal. If this was a transfer, then again, I might be crashing out right now. I ain't gonna lie. But the fact that this is a loan, we do need bodies right now, emergency situation, and I am hoping, obviously, if he turns out to impress, then it wouldn't really be bad having competition. But I do see, I do honestly see Jacquet when he comes back, just making that place at the back his home, and then that would be the partnership. Seeing him and Van Dijk, and then obviously having Arroyo for the season wouldn't really hurt as a rotational piece again. But hey, I feel like I'm rambling on in this one. I ain't gonna lie, I'm tired and I'm off. But this was an emergency one. I ain't gonna lie, because this news came out of nowhere, nowhere. But how do we feel about Araujo starting the season with Van Dijk? Boy, Van Dijk aging. We're gonna see a lot of Van Dijk this season. When I say a lot, like we're gonna see if this is it for him. I think this is his last season, innit? But let's see. Hopefully he doesn't go outside, because I do feel like Van Dijk is declining a tad bit. When I say decline, I don't mean it in a bad way. I don't mean that like he's gonna be stinky this season, but Like I feel like it's okay. Let's put it like this, yeah. He's getting older, and at the moment, the way we play with the personnel we've got, with the injury situation we've had, with the players we've let go over the last 2 seasons, Kwanzaa, Kanate, IE, Trent, Robertson, he's more exposed than ever before. Van Dijk, right? And pairing someone like Araujo, who is mistake bound. Oh man, we're gonna see in it. We're gonna see. We're gonna see. How do you guys feel about that? How do you guys feel about the Araujo deal? How do you guys feel about the Araujo loan?